One of the largest working industries in the world is the oil and gas industry. It is also one of the largest industries in the world in terms of dollar value, being able to generate around $3.3 trillion in revenue each year. One of the main questions asked is, how does this industry run? Welcome to the TheBizPage channel. In this video, insights of the oil and gas industry will be looked at to show how the industry works as a whole. If this is your first time to the channel, then be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more valuable content. Now without further ado, let's dive in. Let's start off by explaining how oil and gas are formed. Crude oil and natural gas are made up of hydrocarbons. They are naturally occurring substances found within the Earth's crust and rocks. Raw materials are formed from the compression of plant and animal remains in sedimentary rocks such as sandstone, limestone and shale. This is why they are also known as fossil fuels. The sedimentary rock is a creation of deposits in ancient oceans and other bodies of water. As layers of sediment were layered on the ocean floor, the remains of plants and animals were combined into the rock formation. The organic material eventually forms into oil and gas after undergoing various temperatures and pressures deep within the Earth's crust. Both oil and gas are less dense than water, so they travel through porous sedimentary rock in the direction of Earth's surface. When the hydrocarbons are stuck below less porous hard cap rock, a reservoir of oil and gas is formed. It is these reservoirs that make our main sources of crude oil and gas. The hydrocarbons are then brought to the surface by drilling through the cap rock in order to reach the reservoir. Once the reservoir has been reached, a productive oil or gas well can be constructed so that the hydrocarbons can be pumped to the surface. If commercially viable quantities of hydrocarbons are not found from drilling, the well then becomes known as a dry hole. Dry holes are normally abandoned. The oil and gas industry are divided into three main segments. The first segment is the upstream. The upstream businesses consist of the companies that work within exploration and production of oil and gas. It is these companies that search the Earth's crust for the reservoirs of raw materials. Then they drill to extract that material from below the cap rock. There is an acronym for these companies. They are known as E&P, which stands for Exploration and Production. This segment involves having high risks, high budget investment and extended duration as it takes time to locate and drill. Being technologically intensive is also important. All income and revenue statement line items of E&P companies are directly related to oil and gas production. The second segment is the midstream. The midstream businesses are based around transportation of the goods. They organize and arrange the moving of extracted raw materials to refineries in order to be processed. Midstream companies have identity by shipping, trucking, pipelines and storing of the raw materials. This particular segment is also marked by high regulation, especially within the pipeline transmission and low capital risk. The success of upstream firms will have an effect on how well the midstream businesses achieve. The third segment is the downstream. The downstream businesses are the refineries that create the products that we use for various needs. These are the companies responsible for removing impurities and converting the oil and gas to products for the general public. The products created include gasoline, jet fuel, heating oil and asphalt. If you are finding this video informative and are learning something new, then be sure to leave a like on this video and visit the channel for more valuable content. Let's now look at how oil is counted in numbers. It is known that E&P companies measure oil production in units of barrels. A barrel unit is shorted to BBL. 1 barrel of oil is equal to 42 gallons or 190 liters. In the production of oil, companies describe how much has been produced in terms of BBL per day or BBL per quarter. A common way to count large numbers in the oil patch is to use the letter mm as to indicate 1,000 and a prefix of m as to indicate 1 million. Based off of this information, 1,000 barrels is stated at mbbl and 1 million barrel is stated as mmbbl. To put this into example, when an E&P company reports for the production of 6 mbbl per day, it means 6,000 barrels of oil per day. Let's now look at how gas is counted in numbers. Natural gas is measured differently to oil and production as described in terms of cubic feet. The shortened term for cubic feet is CF. Similar to the convention for oil, the term mmCF means 1 million cubic feet of gas. BCF means 1 billion cubic feet and TCF represents 1 trillion cubic feet. It is important to note that natural gas futures trade on the CME Group Futures Exchange but are not measured in cubic feet. Instead, the contract futures are based on 1 million British thermal units. This is also known as MMBTU, which is equivalent to around 970 cubic feet of gas. For this reason, investors frequently think of an MCF of gas as being roughly equivalent to 1 MBTU. E&P companies often describe their production in units of barrels of oil equivalent. This is shortened to the term BO. In order to obtain BO, companies usually convert gas into oil equivalent production. In this calculation, 1 barrel of oil equivalent has the energy equivalent of 6,040 cubic feet of gas, or roughly 1 barrel to 6 MCF. Oil quantity can be converted into gas quantity in a way that is similar, and gas producers often refer to production in terms of gas equivalency using the term McPhee. How do drilling and service companies work within the industry? E&P companies are not normally supplied with drilling equipment or employ drilling rig staff. Instead, they hire other companies via contracts to drill wells for them. With this, contract drilling companies generally charge for their services based how long they work for an E&P company. The time working can be days, months, and sometimes years. Drillers do not make the revenue that is linked with the oil and gas production, as is the case for E&P companies. When a well is undergoing drilling processes, various activities are involved in generating and maintaining its production over time everything is operating. These activities are known as well servicing and can include logging, cementing, casing, perforating, fracturing, and maintenance. Oil drilling and oil servicing stand to show two different business activities within the oil and gas industry. Within the works of drilling, many public companies are involved in well service activity as there is good payments to be made. The revenue of service companies is tied to the activity level in the oil and gas industry. This means that the more work there is being done in the industry, the more revenue can be generated from service. Rig count and utilization rates are indicators of the amount of activity happening in the United States at any given time. I hope you have enjoyed watching this video and learned some new things about how the oil and gas industry runs. If you did find this video informative, then be sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe to the BizPage channel for more valuable content that is on the way.